I don't know, I reply. I think so. What accounts for my uncertainty? The image of lifting a fish from the water was not there in my collection of ready-made fishing memories. Because I have never, as far as I can remember, been asked this question, I have never had to come up with a corresponding memory. But I try. I ask myself, what would that first catch moment look like? Into the well-remembered scene of the lake, I insert the detail of an extended fishing rod, seen from the perspective of my childhood self, with something silvery dangling from the end of the line. I feel a pang of recognition, and then a shiver of boyish excitement. And then I ask myself, did it happen? I feel that it did. It seems to me that the event really took place. It feels as though it belongs in the past. It comes with appropriate corresponding emotions, and it feels as though it happened to me rather than to anyone else. When I think of the memory now, a month or two after our conversation in Portugal, it has taken on an independent existence. I no longer agonize about whether it was a product of imagination generated on demand to satisfy a small child's curiosity. What is it like to have a memory? What is a memory? How is it possible to have new memories, like this one of catching my first fish? Have I always had the memory, but only just unearthed it? Or have I somehow created it out of something else? What about all the other potential memories I could conjure up from that period of my life, those that are not in my consciousness right now, but that could become so with the appropriate cues? Do I have them or not? What status do they have before and after they come into my mind? The list of questions goes on. Why did I remember this particular event and not some other? Presumably it was because my memory was clearly cued. I remembered the first fish I caught because I was specifically asked about it. But what about when a memory simply pops into my head for no apparent reason? Yesterday, for example, I suddenly had an exasperatingly random memory of the little blue and white striped plastic carrier bags that were common when I was a child. We are often struck by the randomness of what we remember and dismayed by our forgetfulness for the really important stuff. In the words of the American writer Austin O'Malley, memory is a crazy woman that hoards colored rags and throws away food. This randomness determines what information we choose to encode about an experience, how we recall what we do actually store, and the triggers that can elicit such memories. Memories that are resistant to the ordinary processes of cueing might nevertheless be flushed out by trivial, apparently disconnected cues. Even spontaneous memories, which flash into our heads for no apparent reason, may be triggered by some subtle internal or external connections. For all these reasons, it's impossible to answer the question of whether I had my first catch memory before Isaac asked me about it. In this book, I want to show that the question is impossible because it relies on a mistaken view of what memories are. Here's a memory from an accomplished writer with a special interest in the topic. It is seen from the point of view of a small person just seeing over the wall of a playground in East Hardwick Elementary School. The stone is hot, and is that kind that flakes into gold slivers. The sun is very bright. There is a tree overhead, and the leaves catch the light and are golden, and in the shade they are blue-green. Over the wall and across the road is a field full of daisies and buttercups and speedwell and shepherd's purse. On the horizon are trees with thick trunks and solid branches. The sky is very blue, and the sun is huge. The child thinks, I am always going to remember this. Then she thinks, why this and not another thing? Then she thinks, what is remembering? This is the point where myself then and myself now confuse themselves into one.